Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to start the Leo Zagami Show. The Leo Zagami Show, ladies and gentlemen, from Palm Springs, California.
Now, live from Palm Springs, California, your host, Leo Zagami.
Joined by the very one and only Christy Zagami. A female touch to the show every Saturday with the Leo Zagami Show, broadcasting live, 7 minutes past the hour. Ooh, winds of war, drums of war. But we are going to try to be positive, even if the situation is very much tense worldwide. So welcome to this incredible show. Incredible. I'm saying it myself. The other people should say it, not me. Are you dancing already? Yeah. Okay, let's dance!
Happy Saturday, everyone!
Happy Saturday, everybody! Leo and Christy. We're going to take also phone calls later on. But first of all, the news! In these incredible times we are living, are we going to see the end of this civilization? Well, why not? I mean, a civilization that has as their president here, at least in the United States, a fool who should be in a retirement home. And to save the world, we send Kamala Harris, who has never been, it's the second time she's been in Europe. And I want to thank all those people who have been purchasing my new book, because this is the way we carry on the show. Remember, if you want more shows also during the week, you have to purchase this book, or you have to give something through our donation platforms. We have Fundly, we have GoFundMe, and we have cashapp. Guys, that's the only way we can carry on this on a regular basis. Otherwise, you always have the Saturday show. Isn't that the case? Huh?
It's kind of cheerful.
So, GoFundMe, I know they haven't behaved very well with the trackers, but you know how these platforms are. We had 6 accounts removed from PayPal. We no longer can accept donations on PayPal, and that has meant really almost 3/4 of our donations went away overnight with that. If you want to also use Cash App, that's available at least in the United States and in Great Britain, and it's a great way of bypassing censorship. Cash App, it's also available for all our viewers. And while we are basically waiting for more people to tune in, because we need more people, guys. We need more people. Tune in. Please share this video and subscribe to our emergency channels, which are listed on Facebook, on YouTube, because we might lose the main channel from one moment to the other due to the increase in censorship. But we are here for you. Remember that. The Leo Zagami Show is here for you. And now, let's start. Let's go to Russia, where, of course, it's Vladimir Putin's nuclear day today. Oh, wow. He's been playing around with some dangerous toys, ladies and gentlemen. And that's, of course, because we are not giving in to his request. That's mainly the thing. Russia has been very clear. They have made specific requests about the demilitarization around their borders and the fact that Ukraine shouldn't really join in any way NATO. Instead, today, Zelensky in Munich reiterated and wanted to know exactly when he could go inside the NATO union. No? This alliance has been essential, especially during the Cold War. Now, that means that basically he has not understood that the situation is very serious. Or maybe he has understood it, because I think that Zelensky is in Germany because he knows very well the invasion will take place while he is abroad. At least he might save his life. So let's understand a little bit better what's going on. Let's see, first of all these hypersonic missiles and things that are flying around today. First of all, let's see Putin, who virtually stands there next to the president of Belarus, imparting orders and, of course, taking place to this nuclear training today with a lot of missiles flying around the world.
Forces the Southern Military District, the Strategic Missile Force, and the Northern and Black Sea fleets. Ultrasonic ballistic missiles will be tested, as well as hypersonic Zircon cruise missiles. And all the general staff, Mr. Gerasimov, will now report on the drills. The main goal of the exercises is to test the potential use of Russia's weapons against the potential enemy. We will also test the use of Russia's strategic weapons in response to a potential attack by the enemy.
And we will go back to this because I want to bring you directly on the ground to these Russian moments of militarized power. What's up, Rambo? I mean, we have a Chihuahua who is a soldier. Who is a soldier? Don't. Why?
Okay, stop.
Stop. Okay, guys, check out what happened. Courtesy of the Standard, we are here capable to show you what went on today. Rambo, what's up?
Don't look at him.
I shouldn't look at him. Why? If I look at him, what happens?
He's going to start.
He's going to start what?
You know what?
A maneuver.
Like
now, this is the Russia test, hypersonic missile test.
Боевая тревога, ракетная атака.
Боевая тревога, ракета атака. Лишь ставу не починал покинуть 4 и 5 отсеки. Создать рубежи обороны, кормовой переборки 3 отсека, носовой переборки 5 отсека. Командир рубежа обороны вахтенного отсека.
Live from Palm Springs, California, this is the Leo Zagami Show. An explosive show. So, thanks to the Telegraph, we went inside now the latest maneuvers, and this instead was the control room where Putin, next to his friend, the president of Belarus, Lukashenko, was there, here, control room, in Moscow.
Now it all looks pretty serious.
Well, it is pretty serious. Yes. I think that maybe the West needs to realize that they are very serious, deadly serious.
Commander-in-Chief, can we now start the work? Commander-in-Chief, as per your orders today, we have organized strategic exercises where we will test the potential use of Russia's nuclear missile forces. These military exercises will involve the forces and capabilities of the aerospace force, the Southern Military District, the Strategic Missile Force, the Northern and the Black Sea fleets. Ballistic missiles will be tested, as well as the hypersonic Zircon cruise missiles.
So, like somebody is clearly suggesting in the chat, nuclear war is a thing decided to create a depopulation, indeed, and in fact the plan is to exterminate 3/4 of mankind. And we also have seen a very different attitude between Vladimir Putin a few days ago and President Bolsonaro arriving from Brazil. Putin has promised Bolsonaro he will help him construct also some nuclear plants, probably in exchange of some strategic capabilities in his country, who knows? But of course, this is worrying very much the West. There is definitely a very different attitude from when Macron was received on the other side of the table, when instead Bolsonaro was warmly greeted by Vladimir Putin. This is the Leo Zagami Show. Please share this video and put like on our channels.
Уважаемый господин президент, я очень рад вас видеть. Добрый день.
So, as you can see, definitely very different scenario from what we have seen. Instead, with a very cold reception of Emmanuel Macron. What is going on here? Well, Russia is also a country that in the last few years, since this rehashing of the Cold War by Barack Hussein Obama in 2013-14, he kind of started again this very aggressive modality. Growing sanctions have brought a lot of suffering in of course, people in Russia that have to live every day with these sanctions imposed by the West. So the idea here of Vladimir Putin during his joint conference with the President Lukashenko was very clear. Telling the West that basically they have to give up on this sanction. Otherwise, all hell will break loose. So it's not only here something regarding only the Ukraine invasion here. It's a whole state of affairs concerning Russia. And here we have the response, of course, to all these growing tensions of the one and only Boris Johnson from Great Britain. Oh my God, let's see what he says, this other fool.
We in the UK still hope that diplomacy
Sorry guys, a small technical problem here, you know. I mean, it's like, takes a second, you move one little thing and it all goes to hell. Not good, not good, not good. Okay, so going back to Boris Johnson and his thought on the present crisis.
We in the UK still hope that diplomacy and dialogue may yet succeed. But we also have to be unflinchingly honest about the situation today, when over 130,000 Russian troops are gathering on the borders of Ukraine, and when more than 100 battalion tactical groups threaten that European country. We must be united against that threat because we should be in no doubt what is at stake here. If Ukraine is invaded, and if Ukraine is overwhelmed, we will witness the destruction of a democratic state, a country that has been free for a generation with a proud history of elections. And every time that Western ministers have visited Kiev, we've assured the people of Ukraine and their leaders that we stand foursquare behind their sovereignty and independence. How hollow, how meaningless, how insulting those words would seem if, at the very moment when their sovereignty and independence is imperiled, we simply look away.
I don't think the West has really realized what's happening here, and that's why I invite all of you to now concentrate on the video that I'm about to show you. Is of course with subtitles, so I'm gonna take out this thing we have here with the written family. So I mean, the subtitles will be able to be read very clearly because the following video is a compilation mix of all the things recently said by Vladimir Putin that make you understand the reasoning behind this opposition, this growing tension by Russia, which seems to have been cornered, like I said earlier, through a series of sanctions, but also much more in recent years. So I think that this Russian insight will really give you a proper understanding. So open your eyes and focus on what is written in the subtitles, because what I'm about to broadcast is deadly important, as we are discussing today, the subject of World War III, Christy, you know. What happens if of course the West keeps on challenging Putin? Putin of course doesn't back off because it is in his own right to defend his own sovereignty. Please check out this video.
Все делают вид, как будто здесь не видят, не слышат, читать не умеют. Глухие и слепые. Но мы вынуждены на это как-то реагировать, правда? Это очевидная вещь. Вы спросите своих читателей, зрителей, пользователей интернет-ресурсами. Вы хотите, чтобы Франция воевала с Россией? Но ведь так оно и будет. Но с нами никто не ведет. Мы 100 раз уже сказали, что мы готовы. С нами никто ведь не ведет переговоров до сих пор никаких. Нет. Тишина. Как будто так и надо. Вы же все понимаете, о чем идет речь. Чего молчите-то? Вы все молчите. Ситуация усугубляется. Ведь это подталкивает гонку вооружений. Новый виток создает. вот эта антироссийская кампания, русофобия, она продолжает. Как будет ситуация развиваться, мы не знаем. Это не от нас зависит. Не мы же инициаторы этого процесса. Если кем-то принято решение уничтожить Россию, тогда у нас возникает законное право ответить. Да, для человечества это будет глобальная катастрофа. Для мира будет глобальная катастрофа. Но я все-таки как гражданин России и глава российского государства тогда хочу задаться вопросом, а зачем нам такой мир, если там не будет России? Можно вспомнить Эйнштейна, по-моему, да, он сказал, что я не знаю, какими средствами будет вестись Третья мировая война, но четвертая будет вести с помощью камней и палок. Вот понимание того, что Третья мировая война может оказаться концом цивилизации сегодняшней, вот это понимание, оно должно сдерживать нас от крайних и очень чрезвычайно опасных для современной цивилизации действий на международной арене. Это значит, что мы готовы и будем применять ядерное оружие только тогда, когда удостоверимся в том, что кто-то, потенциальный агрессор, наносит удар по России, по нашей территории. Ну, никакой тайны вам не расскажу. У нас ведь создана система, и мы ее совершенствуем постоянно, она нуждается в совершенствовании. Система СПРН, система раннего предупреждения о ракетном нападении. То есть эта система фиксирует в глобальном масштабе, какие старты стратегических ракет из Мирового океана, с какой-то территории произведены, первое. И второе, они определяют траекторию полета. Третье – района падения головных частей ядерного оружия. И когда мы убеждаемся, а это все происходит в течение нескольких секунд, убеждаемся, что атака идет на территорию России, только после этого мы наносим ответный удар. Это ответно-встречный. Почему встречный? Потому что летят к нам, а навстречу полетит в сторону агрессора. Конечно, это катастрофа всемирная. Но я повторяю, мы не можем быть инициаторами этой катастрофы, потому что у нас нет превентивного удара. Да, в этой ситуации мы как бы ждем, что в отношении нас кто-то применит ядерное оружие. Сами ничего как бы не делаем. Ну да, но тогда агрессор, он все равно должен знать, что возмездие неизбежно, что он будет уничтожен. И, ну что ж, а мы жертвы агрессии. И мы как мученики попадем в рай, а они просто сдохнут. Ну, потому что они даже раскаяться не успеют. Если мы посмотрим на стены, на фрески, вот здесь наверх, ну и здесь то же самое. Кругом война. К сожалению, так было всегда. История человечества полна историей конфликтов. Правда, за всеми конфликтами всегда наступал мир. И лучше бы до конфликтов не доводить. Вот после изобретения и создания ядерного оружия человечество находится в состоянии относительного покоя, относительного, конечно, за исключением региональных конфликтов, состояние относительного глобального покоя 75 лет. Ну, почти 75 лет. Давайте вспомним Черчилля, который сначала ненавидел Советский Союз, потом называл Сталина великим революционером, когда нужно было бороться с нацизмом. А после того, как американцы получили ядерное оружие, призывал немедленно фактически уничтожить Советский Союз. И, помните, его речь в Фултоне была стартом к холодной войне. Но как только у Советского Союза появилось ядерное оружие, Черчилль стал инициатором сосуществования двух систем. И не потому, что, я думаю, он не был таким приспособленцем, а он исходил из реалий. Из реалий исходил. Умный человек был, практически политик. И здесь мало что поменялось вот с этого времени. Мы должны просто иметь в виду, понимать, в каком мире мы живем, какие угрозы и опасности нас поджидают. Если мы не будем держать под контролем этого огненного змея, если мы выпустим его, не дай бог, из бутылки, это же может привести к глобальной катастрофе. но они не осознают, молодые люди, а тем более подростки, дети не осознают глобальные угрозы и такого серьезного вызова, связанных с вопросами возможных глобальных конфликтов. И об этом должны подумать взрослые тети и дяди. Но у меня такое впечатление, что как-то примелькались эти вопросы. Они как-то немножко ушли на второй план. И это не может не вызывать тревогу, и озабоченность не может не вызывать. Вот наши американские партнеры взяли и вышли из договора об ограничении систем противоракетной обороны. Ну чего, уважаемые дамы и господа, хочу обратиться к вам. Кто-то из вас активно протестовал, выходил на улицу с плакатами? Нет. Тишина. Как будто так и надо. А ведь это был первый шаг к фундаментальной раскачке всего каркаса международных отношений в сфере глобальной безопасности. И очень серьезный шаг. Теперь вот говорим о прекращении, по сути, тоже в одностороннем порядке участия наших партнеров американских в договоре об ограничении и ликвидации ракет средней и меньшей дальности. Но в первом-то случае хотя бы вели себя по-честному, просто вышли в одностороннем порядке и все. Во втором, видимо, понимая, что нужно нести будет за это ответственность, пытаются свалить на Россию. Ну вот послушайте меня. Вы возьмите, вы, ваши читатели, слушатели, зрители, откройте договор о запрещении ракет средней и меньшей дальности. Ну, прочитайте его. Там же прямо в статьях написано, нельзя размещать на суше пусковые установки ракет малой и средней дальности. Ну, там же прямо это написано. Нет, взяли, в Румынии поставили, в Польше сейчас поставят. Это прямое нарушение. Посмотрите, что такое ракеты малой и средней дальности, а потом сравните их с параметрами ударных беспилотных аппаратов. То же самое. Теперь посмотрите на характеристики целей для противоракет. Это и есть ракета средней и меньшей дальности. Все делают вид, как будто здесь не видят, не слышат, читать не умеют. Глухие и слепые. Но мы вынуждены на это как-то реагировать, правда? Это очевидная вещь. Сразу ищут виновных в лице России. Давайте, конечно, угроза, она такая серьезная. Сейчас вот у нас на повестке дня продление договора СНВ-3. Но можно не продлевать. У нас наши новейшие системы такие, что обеспечат безопасность, гарантированно обеспечат безопасность России на достаточно длительную историческую перспективу. Я имею в виду то, что мы сделали все-таки значительный шаг вперед, и, надо прямо сказать, мы обогнали наших конкурентов в этом смысле по созданию систем гипероружия. Если никому не хочется продлевать договор СНВ-3, ну не будем тогда. Но с нами никто не ведет. Мы 100 раз уже сказали, что мы готовы. С нами никто ведь не ведет переговоров до сих пор никаких. Ведь никаких формального оформления переговорного процесса нет. А в 2021 году все закончится. Я обращаю ваше внимание, вообще не будет никаких инструментов, ограничивающих гонку вооружения. Или, допустим, размещение оружия в космосе. Но мы с вами понимаем, что это такое или нет? Но вы спросите у экспертов. Это значит, что над головой каждого из нас постоянно, над головой постоянно будет висеть, допустим, ядерное оружие. Вот прямо постоянно. Но мы же делаем то же самое, причем быстро. Но кто-нибудь вообще будет об этом думать, говорить, проявлять какую-то озабоченность? Нет. Полная тишина. Или создание ядерного оружия малой мощности. Использование стратегических ракет в неядерном исполнении. Вот из подводной лодки где-то из районов Мирового океана стартует ракета на глобальной дальности, стратегическая. Откуда мы знаем, она с ядерным зарядом или нет? Вы понимаете, насколько это серьезно, насколько это опасно? А если другая сторона тут же ответит? К чему это приведет? Это должно быть, я глубоко убежден в этом, это должно быть предметом открытой, транспарентной абсолютно, профессиональной дискуссии, и общественность, мировая общественность должна быть участником этого процесса. Ну, настолько, насколько это возможно в вопросах подобного рода. Во всяком случае, люди имеют право знать, что происходит в этой сфере. Ну вот, еще раз хочу повторить, мы к этому готовы. У нас, повторяю еще раз, мы уверены в своей безопасности, но озабоченность в полном демонтаже этого всего механизма в сфере контроля над стратегическими вооружениями и в сфере нераспространения, она, конечно, существует. Повторяю еще раз, конечно, на сегодняшний день наиболее значимыми являются наши переговоры, как стран с наибольшим, самым мощным ядерным потенциалом. Но в целом, по большому счету, я лично считаю, что нужно привлекать все ядерные страны. Все. Официальные, неофициальные, потому что привлекать только тех, кто признан в качестве ядерной державы, и не привлекать тех, кто не признан, ну, значит, они будут дальше развивать. В конце концов, этот процесс затормозится и между странами, которые являются официально признанными ядерными государствами. Поэтому, по большому счету, нужно создавать такую широкую платформу для дискуссий и принятия решений. И в этом смысле, конечно, вот это и может быть светом в конце тоннеля.
Мы категорически против расширения НАТО за счет новых членов на Востоке, потому что это, представляет для нас общую угрозу дальнейшее распространение НАТО к нашим границам. Не мы же двигаемся к НАТО, а НАТО двигается к нам. Поэтому говорить о том, что Россия ведет себя агрессивно, по меньшей мере не соответствует здравой логике. Мы, что ли, пришли на границу куда-то? К нам же подошла инфраструктура НАТО. Вот это первое. Второе. Почему так опасно возможное принятие Украины? Но есть же проблемы. Вот европейские страны, в том числе Франция, считают, что Крым, допустим, является частью Украины. А мы считаем, что это часть Российской Федерации. И если будут предприняты попытки изменить эту ситуацию военным путем, а в доктринальных документах Украины прописано, что Россия противник, и возможно возвращение Крыма военным путем. Представьте, что Украина член НАТО. 5-я статья не отменена. Наоборот, господин Байден, президент Соединенных Штатов, недавно сказал, что 5-я статья – это абсолютно императив и будет исполнен. Значит, возникнет военная конфронтация между Россией и НАТО. Я спросил на пресс-конференции в прошлый раз, нам что, воевать с НАТО? Но я хочу и вас спросить, есть же вторая часть этого вопроса. А вы хотите воевать с Россией? Вы спросите своих читателей, зрителей, пользователей интернет-ресурсами. Вы хотите, чтобы Франция воевала с Россией? Но ведь так оно и будет. Наша обеспокоенность продиктована и вопросами, связанными с общей европейской безопасностью.
So definitely an interesting video that was posted around a week ago by Russian Insight with all the last couple of year warnings by President Vladimir Putin on a topic that seems to be ignored over and over again. And amongst these topics, START 3, the Strategic Arm Reduction Treaty, that was, of course, considered essential during this last few years. It has been gradually ignored and it has not been renewed after it expired in 2021. So very little progress has been made completing a negotiation on START 3. And they were eventually abandoned, which means that we don't have at the moment a treaty, and there is currently an arms race increasing, a nuclear arms race, in which America, by the way, is not really winning, technically speaking. These hypersonic missiles experimented by China and by Russia are not really being experimented by the United States, which then technically has the capabilities, but are very much in a sort of disadvantage at the moment, because here we are talking about some very important issues right now. I mean, Putin says it very clearly, letting Ukraine into NATO will violate Article 5 of the treaty. And of course, all this, like somebody has pointed out, is taking Europe into the unknown, but I would say the whole world. We have, of course, seen in the last few years, the usual diplomatic squabbles between the parts. I take this ambassador away, then I send it back, then I take it away. This is not anymore a diplomatic squabble. This is a military situation, which today has also proven the technical capabilities that we showed at the beginning, the technical capabilities of Vladimir Putin. Regarding instead the upper level of the pyramid, this depicted very well in this book, we all know, of course, that Vladimir Putin was part of Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum from a young age. We all know that on top they all agree. And they all agree in what? In the depopulation of mankind, which is listed here as one of the things that will occur after the bacteriological warfare that was unleashed by China. We now have this other problem, which is, of course, even worse. And still, we have a virus which we don't know the origins from day to day. We keep on ignoring that. Without knowing the origins of this virus, we can't really find a solution to all these variants, because the origins are, of course, hidden in the military vaults of China, a close ally of Russia. But they are working for the New World Order altogether. I mean, it is, of course, a global theater when you enter a war. When you enter a war, just like happened in the First or the Second World War, usually most politicians, who are usually servants of the real powers, the real hidden masters behind the scene that are pulling the strings, people like George Soros, Klaus Schwab, Henry Kissinger, and many others. The Rothschilds, of course, are also very important, because the Rothschilds are the ones who have always made money out of wars, either on one or the other side. That's how they became so influential. And this is the book to understand really what's happening behind the scene. In fact, in this book, Christy, I have really outlined the possibility of a full-on nuclear conflict, as well as other possibilities, but also how to survive all this. Isn't that the case? I mean, this book is a book that I would suggest you get now in paper format, possibly, because that's gonna stay with you for the rest of your life if we don't have any more electricity, or we are running scarce on, because then they would like now to, of course, relaunch nuclear as a source of energy. Nuclear as a source of energy has always proven to be very dangerous. I mean, look at what happened actually in Ukraine, in Chernobyl, in the 80s. Look what has happened in Japan with Fukushima. I mean, so the elite is well organized, deranged, and perverted, but they are continuing with their plan. So their plan, of course.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is this why they make those underground bunkers in Denver?
Of course, underground bunkers serve their purpose to protect a certain amount of people from the possibility of total destruction. But I mean, I don't know if we really need nuclear bunkers when we have hypersonic missiles, because I don't even know if we have time to reach these nuclear bunkers, to tell you the truth. But we are definitely facing the end of this civilization. Brings us a little bit to the beginning of that movie. I don't know if I can find the introduction to that movie, or the first scenes of that movie, that was called Interceptor. Interceptor was a movie with Mel Gibson from 1979, in a post-apocalyptic world in which Russia and America had finally unleash this nuclear war, and at that point it triggered a complete catastrophe that will end up with this Max, the character, of course, represented by Mel Gibson, living on the run in this world in which there is these people who still have some gasoline, who still are able to use their cars, others don't. But it's definitely a society, a very different society from what we have now. That's why I've really recommended in this book, first of all, to abandon the big cities. Because remember, that on the hit list of Russia or China, there is, first of all, the big cities of the United States. So possibly abandon the big cities because they are not safe. Neither they are safe in the case of a civil war, which is also very much possible with an increase in people's awareness, which is happening also in Canada. No, I mean, people are becoming more and more aware of the dictatorship they are that is unfolding, this Fourth Reich that is unfolding, which I described in my book. Christy, what do you think about what you saw this morning? And first of all, welcome. Welcome everybody. I mean, I know it's a very serious topic today. So I see you a little bit.
I feel very good.
About what? About the topic of today?
Well, it's just like, you know that movie War Games, when it's this global thermonuclear war, and there's no winners, and like he basically said, if you do something against me, I'm gonna retaliate, and there's no winners, and so he's prepared to like just end civilization over this.
Well, but do you blame him? I mean, if you want to destroy the sovereignty of a country, and I mean, Russia has been defending the sovereignty since the 90s with attempts by people like Soros to instigate orange revolutions even there, even if it never worked out.
Well, then they should just stop it.
Stop what?
Whatever's making Russian mad.
and go back to...
this NATO crap. It's a bunch of crap anyway. I don't like NATO.
Okay. In this book... page 386, I write about the possibility of this nuclear, scenario unfolding. I say, aside from always having massive doses of potassium iodide, which is important, guys, a sort of stable, not radioactive iodine that can help block radioactive iodine from being absorbed by the thyroid gland.
I bought it, actually.
You can see how the survival experts seem to think that in order to survive for a longer period, one of the key factors is indeed the strength in numbers. So it's also important to create like-minded communities that can come together. And this is one of the purposes of my book. The Great Reject is very important. It's very important. Now, that's why at the end of this book, I left also an email right under the Great Reject symbol here, temporary symbol that we have just created, so that people can not only send a pic, of course, of the book with eventually photos together with the book. We have actually some people this morning who have sent some very, very nice pics that maybe in a way can help us also get in a better mood.
Yeah, why don't you show the pics?
I know.
Right now.
I was trying to find them, but I kind of have a difficulty in finding the pics.
How much stuff do you have on there?
I have so much stuff here but this pic that I'm about to show you is one of the cutest pics ever. It includes volume 7 and a range of my Italian versions of the books.
So cute.
Watch this pic.
It's Rambo's wife in Italy.
Fantastic, though. How cute they are. So this is definitely a way to... You need to make a pic with the book, or this book, or other books of Leo Zagami or Christie, and send it to us through Ordo Illuminatorum Universalis at gmail.com. This way we can all enjoy, no? We can all enjoy basically what you are offering. You see, people send pics from all over the world, Christy, from all over the world, because you have noticed yourself, people are purchasing this book all over the world. Which countries recently purchased this book? Which countries you know this purchase of this
Mexico,
book?
of course, Europe and England, Canada, Australia, Japan, not many from China.
Not many. Well,
I
mean, I'm surprised there is any.
No, not in Russia either. Not selling your book in Russia or China.
Russian people read in Russian, so I'm afraid I don't have a translator at the moment, but I would love to translate my book in Russian. Definitely, it would be probably forbidden though.
It's all over Europe.
Yes,
all over Europe. So yeah. Lots of sales in different countries. Different
countries. So we are facing an unprecedented moment. Let's continue to listen to Boris.
If Ukraine is invaded, the shock will echo around the world. And those echoes will be heard in East Asia, they will be heard in Taiwan. When I spoke to the prime ministers of Japan and Australia this week.
Now, that's what I wrote also in my book, the fact that there is kind of a link. If you start either invading Taiwan or Ukraine, or then you trigger a series of events that inevitably bring you to a World War III. It's really inevitable, I think, that we are heading towards World War III because of the incompetence of most modern academics as well as politicians here in the West, here in America, or in Europe, brought up after the let's say, cultural revolution of the end of the 60s, 1968, does it tell you anything? The moment in which universities became more and more drawn towards this communist ideology, and socialism became the norm. After the supposed end of the Cold War, communism was capable of resurfacing in the West. Young people really don't understand the dangers of communism and socialism, so they embrace it, and that's really a big error. But what is Boris saying here? He's saying that basically, this will trigger World War III, because, he's saying the echoes, basically it means that, we will feel it all over the world. So it's very interesting what he's saying at the moment.
They left me in no doubt that the economic and political shocks will be felt on the far side of the world. So let me be clear about the risk. The risk now is that people would draw the conclusion that aggression pays and that might is right. So we should not underestimate the gravity of this moment and what is at stake. As I speak to you today, we do not fully know what President Putin intends, but the omens are grim, and that is why we must stand strong together. The UK has worked with the European Union and the United States to put together the toughest and strongest package of sanctions, and I spoke recently to President Ursula von der Leyen to discuss the measures prepared by the EU in closest coordination with our own. And if Russia invades its neighbor, we will sanction Russian individuals and companies of strategic importance to the Russian state. And we will make it impossible for them to raise finance on the London capital markets. And we will open up the matryoshka dolls of Russian-owned companies and Russian-owned entities to find the ultimate beneficiaries within. And if President Putin believes that by these actions he can drive NATO back or intimidate NATO, he will find that the opposite is the case. Already the UK and our allies are strengthening the defences of the eastern flank of NATO. We're increasing the British contribution to exercise cold response by sending our newest aircraft carrier, HMS Prince of Wales, and 3 Commando Brigade. We're doubling our presence in Estonia to nearly 2,000 troops. We've increased our presence in Poland to 600 troops by sending 350 Marines from 4-5 Commando. We've increased our presence in the skies over southeastern Europe with another 6 Typhoons based in Cyprus. We're sending warships to the eastern Mediterranean and the Black Sea. And I've placed another 1,000 troops on standby to respond to any humanitarian emergency which we all fear is increasingly likely. And while the most alarming and the most visible threat is the massing of Russian land forces on Ukraine's borders, look at the naval buildup in the Black Sea which threatens to blockade Ukraine. Look at the massive cyber attacks and the incoming tide of disinformation. This crisis extends into every domain, which is why the UK is providing NATO with more land, sea, and air forces. And it is because we feared a crisis like this that we were already engaged in the biggest increase in defense investment for a generation, spread across conventional capabilities and the new technologies that are ever more important to our collective defense. And I'm proud to say that since Russia invaded Ukraine for the first time and annexed Crimea in 2014, we have been helping Ukraine, training 22,000 troops, and in recent months, in response to the threat, we have been among the nations to send defensive weaponry in the form of 2,000 anti-tank missiles. And I'm glad that we've been joined in this by the United States, by Poland, and by our Baltic allies. And that many other nations and the EU have, like the UK, helped to strengthen Ukraine's economy. Britain will always stand up for freedom and democracy around the world. And when I say that our commitment to European security is immovable and unconditional, our deeds show that we mean our words. We are making the biggest contribution of NATO to NATO of any European ally because we understand the importance of collective security. And
so this is, of course, Boris Johnson blowing his own trumpet in this crisis. We have, of course, ongoing info that comes in basically every hour from Donbass. There has been another soldier killed there just now. I mean, there is actually an ongoing war already, and it's been going on for ages, actually, because from 2014 onwards, this breakaway part of Ukraine with these separatists has fought the soldiers of the Ukrainian army. So there has been already a war, of course, not with the official Russian army, but now, of course, in that area, the representative of the break of this part of, used to be part of Ukraine, but is now recognized as an independent republic by Russia, they have announced their intention to leave, for all the children and women, to leave immediately the country. So of course, there is a growing possibility that things might escalate, of course, with all these so-called false flag attacks and whatnot. So we are reporting on all this 1 minute past the hour here from Palm Springs, California. We, of course, appreciate also your support for my latest book, which is not only an essay on the occult roots of this great reset, which includes, by the way, also the possibility of a third world war, but also a manual to survive all this with practical survival. How we get advice? How can we can say, Christy? I mean, advice, no? Because people need to understand how they can survive all this. They don't really need to know only how all this came into fruition. Are you happy with the people's response to this book, or you think that more people should purchase it for the importance it represents?
Of course I do.
Well, I mean, it's not only a question of selling a book or a product here, because this book is much more than a book or a product.
I'm just surprised, we're like so shadow banned, I just feel like everything that you write and everything you say is so important. And, the fact that there's only 92 people watching this right now, that's what I was thinking before. I mean, 9,000 people, 900,000 people should be watching this right now. Instead, you have an influencer who has 900,000 people watching them right now, and they're doing something stupid, and this is such a valuable information. And there's only 100 people that get it right now that are watching this. So to me, I just don't understand it, I really don't. I don't understand. It's not about selling a book either, it's about spreading information. I mean, we have to survive, so we sell the book. That's why we do it. But I mean, these videos that we make are basically for free. I mean, we don't get much of donations from doing these videos. Everything comes mostly. Once in a while, a kind person will donate a lot, but it'll be like one person that will donate. Every day we go and we don't get anything. So. But we still make the videos. But it's like the information in the book is so important, And we're not rich. We might look like we have money, but we don't. We live in 600 square feet. So, I mean, we're thankful
600? I think give it less.
Yeah, it's less than 600 square feet. We present ourselves like the way we do, but everything that we wear is secondhand, And so we just,
but you can have class.
You can have class without having money.
And maybe we should do some tutorial video for that, ladies and gentlemen. So maybe you can learn to be a little bit more classy.
I think that we have money or something. We do live in Palm Springs, but that's just a fluke. It's not because we are rich or we have money. It's because God put us here.
And gave us the possibility.
We don't,
give us this possibility to be here.
But I'm very grateful for every single thing that we get and that we have, and I appreciate everything, and I appreciate everybody that's bought the book. So, and that is all the people that are listening right now. If it's only this many people, that's okay, because at least we know. So Jesus didn't have very many following him in the end. So, and look what happened.
Well, I guess that some people say here, it's like people are at times also a little bit lazy in wanting to follow these topics. Maybe they prefer to leave them aside, but this is no longer the moment in which you can leave aside this topic.
No, it's not. Maybe before you could, but now everybody has to open their eyes.
Leo is having a castle from his wife. Well, my family castle has been long gone, and it's actually.
You don't have a castle?
The family. You see, the thing is, in the English aristocracy, for example, only the firstborn gets the castle, and it wasn't my great grandfather, and so the castle went to the family of the Queen Mother, which actually then went into the Windsor estate once she married, in partly, but actually there is actually still people from the Lion family that carry on even renting rooms of it, because even they have problems in maintaining castles. Castles are very difficult to maintain, guys. You have to have a lot of money. And our castle in Italy, there in Roviano, that was offered to our family, was also impossible for us to maintain. The state spent 5 million euros to refurbish it, so it's impossible.
We left everything also behind,
and then we left everything behind. We had to sell everything we had in Italy, especially because unfortunately the state had moved cases against me for basically stopping me from releasing my books and from continuing my work. I was sued left, right, and center in the last few years in Italy to silence me. And unfortunately, in Italy, the freedom of speech is not really like here. If you are basically sued as a journalist, you can risk the arrest, for what you have written. Here, you can have maybe a civil lawsuit, but that's it. In Italy, you get arrested. So,
You were arrested.
And I was arrested, but I managed then to avoid losing the last things that I had by simply living with my wife, carrying 5 suitcases full of things, and we just left in May 2019 here for our new lives here in the United States of America. We enjoy very much the fact that here I'm capable of even broadcasting the show and telling you these things, because that was not possible for me. All the Karen Lyon family Scottish properties once belonged to the St. No, that's not true, that the St. Clair family. Come on, that's too rubbish. I mean, just study the history of the Lyon family and the St. Clair family. They're two separate families. I was very much a good friend of Lord Sinclair. Do you remember? We actually introduced even Christie to him. But I also was, I met Lord Helgin, the cousin of the Queen, Grand Master of the Royal Order of Scotland, in which we did also some very interesting conferences at the Canterbury Masonic Research Center. I am proposing for the Italians to re-embrace monarchy, because the republic in Italy is not the republic on which we stand here in the US. It's a fraud, which was instituted in 1946 by the Democratic Party just after the war, that wanted to bring down the monarchy for their support to Mussolini. But they basically brought down a system and brought up another one full of crookery. They rewrote the constitution in a way, maintaining though certain laws that were, of course, issued previously by the fascist party. I'm Leo's humble. Yeah, wish you good luck with that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are, of course, moving on. More news, this time from Canada. Canada has really seen, there's been 70 arrests since yesterday. The situation has been really incredible. These Canadians completely, it's just watch. They've been treated in a very unfair way by Justin Trudeau, who has, of course, used this emergency decree to clamp down on any opposition. Ottawa is currently invaded by the military. I really never imagined to see this happen in Canada. But one thing I can say is that if Canadians want to do a revolution, I think they have to understand that a peaceful revolution with the crook like Justin Trudeau, who uses the police like his own mercenary forces, just like his father Fidel Castro, well, I would suggest that you prepare for a real civil war, because this is not going to work out. So you think that shouting freedom in front of this military police, of these militarized police forces is going to get anything sorted out? Then you are eluding yourself. Revolutions, unfortunately, guys, have never been conducted peacefully, I'm afraid to say. So solutions are inevitably violent solutions, and that's not something that, of course, we want to suggest, but that's the only way that maybe you can get something done. It's sad to say that, but that's the truth. So, it's like Canadians are eluding themselves. Now, I went on a live because now they are even arresting, streamers, people who are streaming that are going around the streets of Ottawa are getting arrested. The situation is crazy. And I saw this guy, one of the videos which I got from Canada. There is a scene that is amazing. This guy, for not wearing a mask, look how he's treated in Canada. simply a guy who wants to ski, no? And basically he is treated in this way.
Get your hands off. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. You're under arrest. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Don't stop. Stop.
Just watch. Just watch. Just watch. Just watch. Just watch. Boys, go back. Please. Come on, guys. Let's go. Oh, you touched me. You're right.
It's not on long
In Ontario, a man is assaulted in front of his wife and children in this brutal way, worthy of a dictatorship of the worst kind.
Oh, this is awesome. It's actually this went to a whole level of entertainment, though, right? This went.
I know, right? It's like what point to the security department?
We got front row seats to this.
What?
We got front row seats to this.
I know, right? It's like, and this is physical. I've been seeing these on TikTok. It's a real life one. It's awesome.
Why nobody intervenes to stop these tags? Because everybody is compliant to these idiots and to what they're doing, and nobody has the courage, even in Canada, to do anything. Listen, Canada for decades has been leaning on the left. Canada, unfortunately, like other British Commonwealth countries, has been leaning on the left thanks mostly to the financing often given by George Soros and the planning that was made both by the Club of Rome and the World Economic Forum. You can read more about it in this book, Volume 7 of My Confessions, which has just been published. Compliance is definitely not working, but it seems like people are not ready for the next step. Just check out this live streamer while he's being arrested in downtown Ottawa.
I already told you, okay? This is your last warning.
Yeah.
You're not going by here, okay?
Oh, you can't go this.
You're going to be arrested.
Okay.
This is your last warning.
Okay.
On the other side of the road, if you want to film, right here's a police officer. You can't comply. Okay?
Can I go that way?
You can't go that way unless you then work down that way. Okay, how did you get there? You're under arrest.
For what?
This up, okay?
Arrested for what? Nothing. No explanation given, because that's what's happening in Canada now. A brutal repression. 70 people already arrested since yesterday. Actually, since the other day when they started with the organizers, and then they went and increased this whole theater of the arrest. I have also some images. Eventually I'm going to find them here and give them to you, images that show some really brutality of these arrests that are happening. And all this because, of course, people in Canada probably don't have any weapons to defend themselves. They are rather peaceful people. they are brought up with, yes, great values in theory, but then a lot of compliance, and that is really what ruins everything. Let me show you here other images of this brutal arrest of the last 24 hours to clear the city from the Freedom Convoy. What these people are doing is incredible. And it's like resembling some kind of, I don't know, military dictatorship from hell. It's insane what we are made to see in this, in what. It's insane, guys. It's literally insane to see, I mean, these scenes in Ottawa. So, this is basically what is happening in communist Canada. The people of Canada, like I said earlier in other shows, should grow some balls and just remove, maybe in a more drastic way, Justin Trudeau from his dictatorship, because that's what happens. If you just let him have it his way, the guy is not even mentioning what's happening in town. He's talking about the Winter Olympics and one of his Canadian sports persons winning. He doesn't care. He actually was supposed yesterday to go, to report in Parliament. He just didn't even bother, like it happens in the worst dictatorship. People, of course, are welcome to make their comments here on the chat, but they need to stay on topic. They need to stay on topic, because otherwise we there is people here that want to discuss what we are viewing, and so we invite people, if they don't want to be blocked, to stay on topic. Please don't let me go resort to censorship, but that's what we need then to do. So I'm sorry for King Snargle, Google, Son, Buying, whatever, but I had to block him because he's literally going out of topic, and we need to be a little bit more focused on what we are discussing today, rather than this family or this other family being more influential. So, like you have seen, heavily armed police has descended on Canadian truck drivers, and actually Breitbart has also some interesting images. Rambo, welcome.
I didn't want to pick him up because then he thinks I'm just going to pick him up when he whines. But sit down. Sit down.
It's Rambo. It's Rambo, our Chihuahua. It's a combat Chihuahua. Rambo, are you a combat Chihuahua? Are you a combat Chihuahua?
He's a lovey Chihuahua. He loves love.
Okay, so on Breitbart they showed some of these images that really make you understand how brutal the Canadian police is being in the last day or two in Ottawa. What's happening there is, of course, shocking, and people are really, arriving like this, smashing basically entering into people's cars like this brutally. The way they are acting is incredible because we are permitting it. I mean, if they're acting like this, is because we are permitting it. Remember that. As human beings, I'm not saying I'm not a Canadian. I will never, ever live in Canada. And I will only visit Canada if I had a diplomatic immunity, because that country seems to be like a hellhole for me. So, welcome to the Leo Zagami show, wherever you are around the world. Please, if you want to make this show more regular, if you want to, in your life more regularly, I want to remind you that we need some funding, because the situation, unfortunately, for us is not the best, like we explained earlier. People purchase the books, but at times they don't. And so the only way we can carry on this show on a regular basis is for funding, Fundly, GoFundMe, Cash App, all these platforms.
And thank you, everyone who's bought the books. I mean,
yeah, and also the books, because remember, if you purchase the book or you donate, you will see more of these shows. If not, we have the possibility of coming back to you once a week.
That's okay. I mean,
that's
one
okay.
time is fine.
It's okay, guys. I'm trying to launch this show on a more regular basis, but we seem to have not so many people interested as much as we require to make it, for me possible to broadcast all these times a week.
Last week was tough. We did it 3 times.
Yeah, the 3 times. I mean, we enjoy doing it. But of course, we would like to also see some response from you. We don't have a sponsor, unfortunately. We don't have any longer the radio station that was broadcasting us, Aftermath FM. Can you get the books to the UK? Sure, you can just purchase them on Amazon UK. They are perfectly purchasable on Amazon UK. Okay, so share this video, put like, in some way or another, help us move on with this project. I want to show you what happened in New Zealand, because they didn't really rebel only in Canada recently, but also in Australia. You remember what that guy told us the other day? I mean, they actually use some weird weapons against the Australians.
Yeah.
And in New Zealand, they have been occupied. I mean, the space in front of the parliament for the last few days. The Maoris, the famous Maoris, here they are in front of the New Zealand parliament. Look how they give their pretty extraordinary of protest.
Link up! Link up!
A peaceful protest, but a very noisy one indeed. No, Grace.
Is that like island stuff?
It's New Zealand stuff. New Zealand stuff, yes. Maori, the indigenous stuff, force and tradition melt in this very strong dance moves that are, of course, a sort of war mode, war dance, for the enemy. In this case, their own prime minister, who is the biggest libtard of them all, and another person, of course, financed by the usual suspects. So great to see this dance, this Maori dance, and they say the Maori dance, the aka, and it's nice to see them really so energetic against the injustices that are driven by their hideous government. But who has voted this hideous government? The people who have been brainwashed by years and years of improper education in their schools, in university, and so on. And unfortunately, that's what happens. That's what happens. It's really hideous to see what happens.
Like what happened in that college with those students, and they protested because they can't wear. They're taking away the mandate to wear the masks, and they want to wear the mask, and so they made a protest.
Yeah, I should have actually uploaded the video. I don't have it now on my desktop for today, but it was.
It's like you're not letting us wear the masks, and we feel like
and in Reno, Nevada, these young people, completely brainwashed, wanting the mask.
He was in a college.
Yeah, no, in college in Reno, Nevada.
Yeah.
It's just it's insane. It's insane, completely insane, absolutely. So here we are. And of course, we have a lot of topics today that we could discuss. There is also, though, a topic that is peculiar to America. Saget, the comedian. Now, in this chat, he had only a few months before he died, he actually said something interesting regarding the possibility that he might be found dead in his bed. He said he made a joke. He made a joke to his wife that likes movies like The Godfather and so on. And he made this joke, and it's really a weird thing that happened to him. As you know, the family also has been very upset with the details, keeping the details only for the family, like there is something they don't want people to know about his death. I would like to show you what happened, because it's like either this is just a macabre synchronicity, but it's definitely a strange one. Here.
And I know you love to also pepper in movies because you love the movies, and of course I love movies too.
Pepper in movies. I like live for movies.
Yeah, right. But as I said, I absolutely love movies as well.
You love 5 movies. You love Big Lebowski every day. You could watch Big Lebowski 4 times a day.
The Godfather, Wayne's World, Godfather 2, Goodfellas, Casino, Scarface. But
so I don't have long to live. These are your favorites. I'm going to be found dead in bed.
You better watch out. So
sad to see this joke played out after in real life. Weird, absolutely weird. Now, a lot of people are asking me to talk about Jean-Luc Brunel because, of course, if you go and study the Black Book... Rambo, can you stop snoring? Rambo, can you stop snoring? Oh.
He's okay.
You have to stop snoring. Okay, so basically what happens is this. I went through the whole Black Book of Jeffrey Epstein, you remember? And I pointed out immediately the importance of this character. I said, this guy knows a lot. I studied a little bit also what happened to him and of course, he was the one who was responsible for bringing the underage girls, but the most underage ones, between 12 and 13 years of age, from France, directly to Jeffrey Epstein's, I think, island, or I don't know if it was his New Mexico compound, but he brought these three girls that were really underage. I mean, we are talking about 12 to 13 years of age. And now suddenly he is found hanged in his cell, just like Jeffrey Epstein. What do you think about that? Epstein didn't kill himself, but what happens with this guy? Who killed this guy? Who killed this guy? I mean, it's just like a little bit spooky, to say the least. So people, of course, are very interested in what has happened. There is a lot of different reports going on on the internet today. He was hanged in a Paris prison. He was described as Jeffrey Epstein's best mate and pimp, because like I said, there is actually in that, I remember, in that black book, which I need to find again because I have a copy on in my computer somewhere. I remember the notes, that Epstein used to put next to everybody, and Jean-Luc Brunel had a particular note right at the end of his agenda. It was his agenda. His phone book / agenda / address book of various characters, including the Cuomos. So Jean-Luc Brunel was a modeling agent officially. He had been imprisoned two years ago because of this whole affair, because he aided the Epstein sex trafficking enterprise. And of course, he was of help to Epstein, just like Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, Jeffrey Epstein represents a peculiar heresy within the Jewish world, the Sabbatean Frankist heresy, and I describe this very much in detail in this book, the involvement of Ghislaine Maxwell and the Sabbatean Frankist mafia. So I would say that now that we have found, of course, the settlement, the multi-million-dollar settlement, at least 12, maybe more $1 million given to Virginia Giuffre, we wonder if Brunel could have added something else, that maybe they wanted this whole thing, the elite wants this whole thing completely scrapped off the map. They want everybody silent on this whole affair. He was somebody who, of course, was a modeling agent. We can show here an image of him.
When did he die?
The last 24 hours, he was found hanging in his cell in Paris. He had a lot of connections. And he had, of course, a lot of information that he could have used probably to damage some very, very powerful people. It's not so much the models he used to be involved in, but of course the whole, he's known to have taken at least 25 trips to Epstein's estates with the infamous Lolita Express plane. When Epstein was locked up in 2008, he was a regular visitor to his jail in Florida, so very close to Epstein. Media reports have repeatedly described Brunel as a key member of Epstein's inner circle, and just like his best friend, found dead in the same way. It's a little bit weird. I mean, it's like Jean-Luc Brunel didn't hang himself. That's it. That's what I wrote this morning on one of my social network accounts, because it's important, that people also realize that there is a powerful elite that includes Hillary Clinton, that we recently saw again resurfacing in the political arena, the same Donald J. Trump that befriended at one point Jeffrey Epstein. It's claimed in an affidavit that there was about Epstein, that Epstein slept with over 1,000 of Brunel's girls. So he found 1,000 girls to have sex. Giuffre, who just, of course, now is going to stay silent for the rest of her life because got all these millions, had alleged that Brunel found out model girls that wanted to become models, modeling hopefuls, to the pedophile, as well as other men for sex. She also claimed, Virginia Giuffre, that she was once forced to have sex with Brunel at Epstein's home. She also alleged that Brunel once set up a photo shoot with 7 Russian girls, which Prince Andrew watched. She later claimed in an affidavit that, of course, like I said, Epstein had slept with over 1,000 of Brunel's girls. In 2019, French cops raided the offices of CANALE Models, an agency founded by Brunel. They received evidence from several of his former victims who waived their anonymity to speak out. And there was a New Zealander, actually, going back to New Zealand, called Zoe Brock, who claimed in statements made to French investigators that she was abused herself in Paris in the early 1990s by Brunel and friends. Meanwhile, Dutch model Thesia Huisman, who was 18 when she first stayed with Brunel, said she was raped by him in 1991. So Brunel and Ghislaine Maxwell, so now what's going to happen? I'm sure that Ghislaine Maxwell, within a year or two, she's going to be out of jail. Otherwise, she's going to be dead. These are the possibility, because, these are like some deals that have been made behind the scenes. Now, there's been a sentencing, tentatively set for June for Ghislaine Maxwell, but the fact that Jean-Luc Brunel, 74 years of age, was found hanged in his cell in La Sainte, in the prison of La Sainte in Paris, at 1 a.m. last night. So, it's very fresh, this whole news. It's just happening now, and we, of course, reported as it happens. We still have 20 minutes. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, our show is also made of phone calls. We like to make you participate of this show. Christy likes it very much. Hey, Christy, you like to receive calls from our listener. Rambo, you're snoring today. And I'm sure that, but we have a very sensible microphone. Rambo, you can't sleep on sleep. Come in, wake up. You want to say hello to everybody? Huh? What's up? Huh? Oh, say hello to mommy? Say hello to our viewers? Huh?
Want me to put him back over there?
Oh, he's such a little handsome little pup. No, leave him here. He's such a little handsome pup.
He's going to snore.
No, but it's okay. It's okay. Okay. People say they can't hear the snoring, so it's okay. So if they can't hear the snoring, we can leave him there. He's such a lovey. And Rambo.
He was sleeping. Now you woke him up. Now he's going to cause problems.
No, he's not. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to open now the phone line, which is, Christy, read the phone number.
970-577-6369.
We're going to be taking a few phone calls today. As long as you call, we're going to leave the phone open, and we're going to carry on even after, we have 20 minutes, but we can make it even 30 if people call in. So see what you want to do. If you want to just end this show in 90 minutes, then don't call. Otherwise, we're going to probably go on for another half an hour. I open the phone lines, and I'm going to put the phone number on the screen for all of you. Here we are. Join us if you are following us live on Facebook or YouTube. We are broadcasting live today, the 19th of February of the year of the Lord 2022 from Palm Springs, California. Still, we have, of course, a bit of news. So, as we are not sure whether people will call in or not, depending on what kind of day it's today, we have some news that is directly from here, from Palm Springs, California, and regards one of the guys, Facebook meta managers, who is developing the metaverse, the community developer, who is a resident of Palm Springs, who comes from Palm Springs, Jaren A. Miles, who was basically caught in an amateur child sexting by NDNGO and another journalist, investigative journalist. This guy basically admitted that he tried to, he was flirting with a 13-year-old. So this is the kind of people that definitely was immediately fired also by Facebook. So we are glad for that. But we would like to show you briefly this guy because he is kind of lying. But then he admits his faults.
So you're telling this 13-year-old boy that he makes you horny, correct?
Could be perceived as such, yes.
Oh, quit the bullshit, bro. I'm sick of your bullshit.
Good. I won't have any restraint around you if I'm horny. What does that mean?
It means I was flirting. I was talking to him. Throughout all of this, I'll let you know there was never any intention of ever meeting up with him.
Okay.
Bro.
But you did set 2 meets with him.
That I never intended to go to or
but you set
showed
it up
to.
Correct.
And I gave information, location, and all that stuff. Yes.
I mean, how did I find you? It's not like I just pulled this out of my ass.
It's true.
You gave the hotel and the hotel room.
Right.
So you set the meets. So you're okay with talking sexual online as long as you don't meet the children?
This is the one time I've done this.
Okay, so you are okay to talk sexual to 13-year-old Corey because you knew in your head that you would not meet up with him.
Welcome to the Leo Zagami show. Who do we have online? Who is?
Hey Leo, Christy, this is a call from FEMA region number 5.
Hey, from Illinois, one from nearby Chicago. So how is things going and what is your question this week? What do you think of the tense situation between Russia and the rest of the world? Will this escalate into a war or not?
Well, it's so strange, Leo. It's so strange to hear the Vice President Biden say that he knows that Putin will invade Russia.
I like the fact that you said Vice President Biden. The Vice President. He's apparently still the president, but of course, if we don't accept his election, we can call him Vice President, since he was, of course, Vice President in the former Obama administration.
Who knows who's really running things? You know, that he is just a puppet. If it's ever been more apparent that it's just a mask, the presidency of the United States is just a mask for the same person, group of people, who knows, but now it's super apparent. But yeah, it's super strange to hear him say that with such confidence. It makes me want to believe him that it will happen, that a new world war is upon us. It's the worst thing that's happened in my short lifetime.
Well, it will be the worst thing that will happen for everybody's lifetime, because this will be the war to end all wars, like Vladimir Putin said himself, referencing to a citation made originally by Albert Einstein. The fourth war, the third war, I don't know, but the fourth war will end up being fought with sticks, and I mean, what we're gonna have after is gonna be just the remains of this civilization, and we might have to rewatch that movie from 1979, Interceptor, Mad Max Interceptor, which definitely depicted this possibility. So thank you for calling today. Regarding instead the situation in Canada, do you think that today will be the last day and that's it? Because it seems like really they don't have any other choice than to give in with such violence by the police, such brutality.
Well, for a couple days, maybe 2 weeks, I thought to myself, the only way that those truckers are going to succeed in any capacity and make what they're doing worthwhile is, and this, I take no pleasure in saying that. I just think it's a matter of fact. They will have to give their lives. That's the only way that they will make a lasting impact. Because if they give their lives, if they start dying because no heat, because they were deprived of fuel, if they die because they are brutalized by the enforcers, then maybe, and this is not for sure, but maybe then the population will see that this is what's going on is wrong, and they will rise up. The truckers, they're just a symptom of the sickness that's affecting people. So it's the people. The truckers are all good and fine, but it's the people of Canada who should march on the cap, whatever their version of the capital is. I think the only way that's going to happen is if those truckers start losing their lives. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want any of this to be happening, but that's my opinion of what needs to happen.
What needs to happen often doesn't become what actually happens because of the brainwashing that unfortunately has brought up generations of Canadians believing in this idiotic state of things, They don't have a constitution like the American ones. They have a rule of law, of course, they respect, but they have been always brainwashed to believe the state knows it better. And now, of course, the state is represented by Justin Trudeau. Thank you so much for calling us today.
Your book arrives tomorrow, Leo. Your book arrives tomorrow.
You got it finally. Well, then you will be able next week to maybe participate with a question or two on the book. And I will be glad to answer that and also to answer any other viewer who has purchased this book and would like to make some questions regarding its content. Thank you so much from FEMA region number 5. Have a great weekend. And we will be expecting more phone calls in the next 11 minutes. Otherwise, we will, of course, interrupt the transmissions at 12 o'clock here, Pacific Standard Time. And let me move forward with yet more news that actually goes very much with the content of my latest book, but also with the content of another one of my books. Volume 6.66, The Age of Cyber and Artificial Intelligence and Robotics, because scientists are claiming that artificial intelligence will bring to the extinction of mankind. Could artificial intelligence bring to the extinction of mankind? Here we are in an article just published by The Sun. By Jonah Jaupe, taking over for artificial intelligence. Maybe. Many fear that artificial intelligence will be the end of humankind. Here's the truth according to experts. So by now, most people around the world use some sort of AI utilizing that is integrated into the daily life. That's what I say also. I've been saying that for years, with the smartphones and so on. They also use things like Siri, the Alexa. We have it here, even on this computer. If I want, I can ask Siri, anything. Siri, who is Alexa?
Non so se ho capito bene.
My Siri, unfortunately, talks Italian, so she doesn't understand fuck all when I talk to her in English. I have some problem with it. In any case, even Elon Musk has, of course, warned us, like Stephen Hawking. These are all things that, by the way, I've also outlined very much in my new book and also in volume 6.66. So it was interesting to find this article, this warning. Of course, it's going to be an unheard warning. Nobody's going to ever discuss the dangers of Cyber Satan, because Cyber Satan is the one that ultimately in 2030 is going to take control of this chipped reality. Thank you for saying that 6.6 is a very interesting, very interesting book. Thank you very much. Yes, at times I answer the questions in the chat. Of course, if I have time, it would be a pleasure to answer questions in the chat. If you don't want to call in, if you want to call in, you have also the possibility of doing so. +1 970 577 6369. Okay, moving forward with yet more news. This news, of course, it's from the Gatestone Institute of International Policy, that in a way it's kind of like echoing what George Soros has said regarding Xi Jinping, because as you know, we made an episode of our show a couple of weeks ago, that was all about George Soros and what he said. Actually, not a couple of weeks ago, I think a week ago, so maybe less. When was?
It was a couple weeks. The one on George Soros?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a couple weeks.
Okay, because he ended up saying during his speech to the Hoover Institute that Xi Jinping was had an enormous amount of domestic enemies, and see what they echo him. It's like he has a bunch of echo chambers that he directs directly, like Gregory Copley, president of the International Strategic Studies Association, and editor-in-chief of. In some way, they are working so that Xi Jinping can be defeated. They really don't like the fact that Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin are creating a new Sino-Russian New World Order, which is something that I discuss very much in my latest book. So, the Sino-Russian New World Order is, of course, giving a hard time to the rest of the New World Order, because everybody would like to be the leader of this New World Order, starting from the US, that actually was the leader of this New World Order up until very recently. No? We want to show you, though, what's happened with the CDC, because I found a tweet by the CDC, which I found particularly interesting. I'm just gonna let you read it so you can understand what's all about this. See, suddenly the CDC is warning about blood clots. Whether you are an athlete or a fan, don't let a blood clot ruin a big game this weekend. Suddenly, you have the problem of the blood clot, which is a problem we all know where it comes from. I don't even need to tell you where this problem comes from. So, courtesy of the big pharma companies that forced us into this demented situation, but of course, the blood clot is part of, it's like the nuclear war, no? It serves the same purpose, sorry. The extermination of mankind. Welcome to the Leo Zagami show. Who am I talking with?
Hi, Leo. Hi, Christy. I'm calling from South Carolina.
Oh, welcome. What's your name?
Thank you. It's Philippa. I've been watching you guys. Since I found out about you, Leo, I said I've got to listen to this guy. And then I see Christy, your lovely wife. And I just wanted to thank you both so much. I won't be long, but I just really want to just encourage you both. Thank you so much, Christy, for being open and honest. And Leo, thank you for all the work that you're doing. I will be purchasing your book. And I'm so looking forward to reading and just really just delving into it. And I just really want to encourage you both to keep up the good fight. Leo, you are the voice in the wilderness. And do not stop. Keep encouraged to both of you, because God is truly using you. And I am praying for you. Both are my prayers. And just keep encouraged, because I know doors will open up for you. So I just wanted to call in today just to encourage you and thank you for keeping us abreast to everything that's going on behind the scenes, Leo. I know that, when you say things out there like that, it jeopardizes some things, but I appreciate you both for what you are doing for all of us and keeping us abreast to what's going on in the world. And God bless you.
That was really nice. I don't usually receive this kind of phone calls, but this was very much welcome because instead of a question, it was really a boost of energy for us of encouragement, so we can carry on in our mission. Thank you very much, Filippa. And do you have any questions for us or just an encouragement?
Well, I really want to encourage you most of all, anything. But I did want to just ask you really quick about the situation in Ukraine. I believe it's a smoke. I think it's a mirage just to get. I believe that it's a smoke signal, so to speak. And I believe they're about to do something else to the world and just to kind of set things in order. But I don't believe that they will invade Ukraine. I just believe they just kind of try to scare some people into doing what they want them to do and then setting something else up. But I don't think that they will invade. But I just, what do you think? Do you think that they will invade?
We have to pray. We have to pray. You see, the thing is this: we have a military-industrial complex in this country, which is just as powerful as the military-industrial complex in Russia, no? And when you are talking about making weapons, these weapons, like I said in the past, eventually get rusty, especially all these nuclear ballistic missiles and whatnot. We have a lot of them that are really rusty in this country that should be updated. But that's why, at one point or the other, at times the drums of war are beaten, are played, because they like to encourage then the various contenders to then for a new arms race, basically. But at the same time, we have to understand that what is happening could really trigger a war. It's not just a vague possibility. And it's of course also listed as one of the tools to depopulate mankind, because like I said a moment ago, we talked about the blood clots. Of course, you can link them to what you inject in your body, as a cure for this China virus, whatever. That is pretty much implicit in what I was saying. But it is also implicit that they are doing everything possible and imaginable to just make the human population weaker, more frail, dependent from their own military-industrial complex, as well as the big pharma, which are the two great players in all this. So I personally think we are about to possibly witness a conflict of incredible proportions that will reshape the future of humanity. I don't wish it, though. I pray every moment of the day that this whole thing can de-escalate and we can return to normality. Because, like I showed at the beginning of the show, the warnings made in the last couple of years by Vladimir Putin have been very clear. And his warnings also regarding the danger of starting this kind of conflict. So I made the video. Somebody is asking me in the chat if I can speak about the attack on Christians. I made a whole video about the persecution of Christians in the end times. So you can go and see it. It's available on Top Secret, the Leozagami show, which is our main YouTube channel. I also, of course, invite you to subscribe to the other channels, because at the moment I use them mainly for my Italian shows, but I will be probably using them also for my English show in case we get censored on this one. You can wake up one day and suddenly find yourself with no more,
Hope not. But if that happens, go on the website.
Yeah.
And you can find the latest.
Okay, so what happens is that basically you can go on www.leozagami.com, and this is something that I want to tell you just before we are leaving you today. So in case this video is censored, and that will mean probably the end of this the main YouTube channel that we're using to broadcast now this English show. You can go on leozagami.com, and as you can see, you have these icons on top. No, so you have the Leo Zagami show on YouTube, and it will always bring you to the channel that currently broadcasts it.
There could be a channel with 2 subscribers on
it. Or you can find me on Gab, you can find me on YouTube for my Italian show, of course, for those who speak Italian. But for my English show, this is the link, and it's on the website. So that's
We're fluid.
We are fluid. Band.video, yeah, well, I wish Band.video, but I work often with InfoWars, but I was never given a Band.video channel, so they actually promised they will give me a Band.video channel, and something happened. I think that probably they have their own reasons to not give me a Band.video channel. So maybe it's too risky. We are banned from.
Maybe they're afraid of this.
We're so banned that maybe that no, they don't want. Who knows? Who knows? I know also that my friend Alex is very busy with a million things, so who knows? Ladies and gentlemen, the end of the Leo Zagami show, Saturday the 19th of February 2022. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a journey through the latest news, and now you can enjoy the dance.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Please subscribe, put like, and spread the news. The Zagamis are here with the Leo Zagami show every Saturday. But if you want, we can also join you on Tuesday, Thursday, depending on the level of appreciation that you have.
Thank you for buying the books.
Thank
everyone that's bought the book, thank you so much.
Yeah, and we appreciate it. We appreciate it, and we would like you to send at ordoilluminatorium at gmail.com a photo with the book.
Rambo can stay over there. He was in the show enough.
He's a pest. No, he's sleeping now. Watch him.
He's sleeping.
Rambo sleeps. At the end of the show, he gets tired. Then he sleeps. To the next show. Take care, guys. And let's pray for peace. Absolutely. From Palm Springs, California, this was the Leo Zagami Show. Un saluto anche a Franco Presta. Hello, Franco.
Hi,
and Florence. The best hotel in town, Franco Presta and Florence.